Imperator, is social democracy doomed to failure as long as capitalism remains in place? Look how easily New Deal reforms were eroded. Big business always wins as long as profit is the key economic incentive. No, I would say big business always wins as long as you have money in politics. If you don't have money in politics, then they have no lobbying effect. And so the government will represent the people, even in a hybrid system that includes elements of capitalism. And also, there's another way to circumvent that problem, too, the problem of big business affecting politics, other than getting money out of the system. This is what constitutions are for. So, like, the whole idea of a constitution is these things are off the table and not open to democratic opinion overriding it. So you don't have, like, the tyranny of the majority coming to take away your rights because they can't. So the Constitution, our Constitution has a lot of negative rights in it. So it's the right for the government to not fuck with you over certain things. But I'm a fan of negative rights and some positive rights. So I, for example, if I had my way, I would have in the Constitution a right to health care. Now, this is where you lose libertarians. You're like, oh, come on, goods and services, it's a business. You don't have a right to somebody else's labor. That's fucking slavery. And they come up with every bullshit talking point you can imagine. But there are some constitutions in Europe. I think France's constitution has a right to healthcare. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, people from France. But I'm pretty sure that's the case. I would put a right to healthcare in there for sure. And so when you do that, you've made it a right. Then the only system you could have is like a Medicare for all system. So you can't, doesn't matter how much fucking big business tries to chip away at that, they can't. That's set in stone. That's why it's in the Constitution. So, yeah, there's a few ways to circumvent that. And as a general rule, no. I know a lot of people in my audience are to the left of me on questions like this, but I prefer a hybrid system. I prefer a mixed system. I like having elements of capitalism and elements of socialism. I mean, obviously in the US, we're way too heavily on the capitalist side of the spectrum.